We are what? We are who? We are what? Vibrant. We are who? 50 plus. Hi, welcome to Gray Lives on the Rise. I am your host, Professor Jamila Franklin, and we are coming to you from Oyende Enterprises, being sponsored by Jamila Sense, which is our product line of aromatherapy products that helps heal the mind, body, and soul. And we are bringing to you Alamaj's rebirthing program, as well as Jamila Sense, and a host of wonderful programs that will help heal your body, heal your soul, and heal your mind. 50 plus people, we are here to stay. Gray Lives on the Rise. We are what? We are who? We are vibrant, and we are here to stay. Join us for our wonderful episodes. Thank you, and continue to look for our episodes weekly, being brought to you again from Oyende Enterprises and Jamila Sense. See you soon. Greetings, everyone. How are you? It's another Sunday, and we're with the lovely Lisa today, and we're going to find all about what she does, and it's amazing. It's amazing. She's just a fitness person, wellness person, and her bio is just really, really impressive, plus the certifications. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about who I am. For those of you who are not familiar with me, I'm Professor Jamila Franklin. I am the founder and CEO of Gray Lives on the Rise, and Lisa and I both have on our shirts. See? Gray Lives on the Rise. And this movement came about a year and a half to 2 years ago, as I was walking, doing something that Lisa would be proud of me. I was walking, same fit. So, and this download came, and the download basically said that we needed to do something for people who were 50 plus, because there was nothing out there for people who are 50 plus. And I said, oh, okay. And then I said, what? And then the title, Gray Lives Matter, came to me. I said, no, that's cliche, it's just overused. Then Gray Lives on the Rise came to me. And I said, okay, I like that. Lives rhymes with rise. And you don't have to have gray hair. You don't have to have period. You can have short hair, long hair, no hair, bald, braids, wigs, whatever. And it's about your consciousness. So people who are 50 plus have a very, very wonderful consciousness. And I said that I would like to relinquish some things. We are not old. We're not seniors. We're not elderly. We are seasoned. We're golden, and we're mature. I said, yeah, I like that. So the thing that came to me in terms of the downloads, my intuition was saying to me, you're going to have to really till the soil for this, because if you just jump out with a podcast, it'll last for a minute, but then people will fall off, like what happened when I had my Blog Talk radio show about 5 years ago. For 5 years, it did okay. And then, after it went into hiatus, and people were like, yeah, okay. They didn't really remember it. So I said, well, what I need to do is first have a movement, because this is a movement. It's not about a podcast. It's not about our online store with these amazing products. It's more than that. It's about having people who are 50 plus know that they matter, and have them understand that there are others like them out there. And so this is mobilizing people, not only locally, nationally. It's a global movement, because there are people throughout the world who have been treated or mistreated because they are 50 plus. If you're 50 plus, it's going to be very challenging to get employment if you would like to go back into the workplace, because they tend to discriminate. So I said, well, we have to get together and make sure that we're supportive of each other. And people can't buy from us if they don't know who we are and where we are. So my vision is to mobilize people throughout the world who have these amazing talents. And we can buy from each other. 50 plus people can buy from each other. Not that we wouldn't buy from people who are younger, but there are enough of us. We are a large, large demographic, and it has taken off. Like skyrockets, it's really, really taken off. So what I decided to do was have the podcast, Great Lives on the Rise, like I said, to talk about the different services and products that we in the 50 plus generation provide. And so my company, as a matter of fact, is underwriting the podcast. Oyende Enterprises is my company. And underneath that, my parent company, underneath, we have Jamila Scents, which is my aromatherapy company. And today, I'm showing people Peace Be Still, which is an amazing product. I'm a certified aromatherapist, so everything that I do, I create myself. You see how clear it is? Okay. It has lavender, lemongrass, and geranium in it, and it's amazing for getting rid of stress, any stressor, sinus congestion, sinus headaches, migraine headaches, PTSD, anything like that. And for people who are post-menopausal, it's excellent for menopausal issues too. So you put the drops in your hands, you rub your hands together. Every time I do it, even though I created and I use them, I'm like, oh my gosh. And you just breathe in 10 times. Your headaches, migraine headaches immediately go away. Sinus congestion, your sinuses clear up. Any distressor like that would disappear. You don't take it by mouth. You only put it in the palms of your hands. You can put it in your bath water. You can put it in your shower. You can put it on the bottoms of your feet. The only thing is that you don't take it by mouth. And people 50 plus are not pregnant, so you don't have to worry about that, because a pregnant woman cannot use it. It would help the baby come early. And then for the rest of it, after you put it on your hands, you just put it on your arms. And during the summer, flies and mosquitoes will not come near you. They hate it. Okay. And it smells wonderful. So contact me at Oyende Enterprises, Oyinde Enterprises, ENTERPRISES.com. Professor Jamila Franklin, OyendeEnterprises.com, and Jamila Sense is one of the companies that you will see, along with Great Lives on the Rise. Okay, now that I've done my little infomercial, I'm going to get on to our guest today, Miss Lisa M. DeLuca. And the title for this podcast today is Nutritional Empowerment. Let's get fit and healthy. Okay? All right, stop being couch potatoes. So now Lisa's bio. Lisa is a first-generation Italian-American from Philadelphia, now living in South Jersey. And she loves her Philly sports teams. She is 50 plus and married, and the mom to 2 teenage boys. And she's post-menopausal and can attest to life being better on the other side of perimenopause. Her fitness journey started when she slid the Jane Fonda and Kathy Ireland fitness videos into her family's living room and into the VCR. We all know what a VCR is. Okay, these people who are younger, they don't know what that is. And forget about the tape cassette. They have no clue. That's what the tape cassette was. So, and I remember the Jane Fonda workouts, like, yeah, I did them. And I was so impressed with Jane at her tender age. Okay, and between the workout videos and playing tennis, she was very active in her youth. In college, she started bodybuilding. She's petite too. She started bodybuilding and alongside with her boyfriend, and she figured if she couldn't get as skinny as she wanted, she could she could get fit and she could build up her body. So that in her mind was one of the things that can lead to distorted body image, because a lot of women, particularly during the late 60s. This was before her time and my time. But Twiggy came out in the modeling field, and she was this big. Now, it was impossible to be this big, but that really established a lot of anorexic eating and all of that, and bulimia back in the day. So, okay, so she figured if she couldn't get skinny, she would build a body, which was really, really, really very good. It's a feeling that she thrives on to this day, and she would like to convince women around the world to take more space in the world rather than trying to shrink, because that's a mental thing too. When you're trying to be very, very thin, it's like you desire to disappear and you're not taking up space on the planet, which means that I don't really matter, or I have a distorted image of who I am. So I think that's really good. In fact, it's the opposite of what you need to do to look good and to feel good and to realize everything is possible no matter what life throws your way. So now let me tell you something about her certifications. She's a certified holistic nutritional person. She's a nutritionist in that area. She's a certified autoimmune holistic nutritionist. This is amazing. She's a certified holistic gut specialist. She's a certified advanced metabolism and female hormonal specialist through Dr. Jade Tita. And she has finished Precision Nutrition Level 1. She's a specialist in change psychology, precision nutrition. She's a specialist in nutrition for metabolic health, precision nutrition, and menopause for athletes course by Dr. Stacy Sims. Whoa, impressive. Very impressive, very impressive. So this is a person that women who are 50 plus really need to get in touch with, because a lot of times when you're going through menopause or post-menopause, your body is doing some very interesting things. Having gone through it myself, you know, you may have been able, I'm vegan, but you know, when I was eating ice cream, I could eat a half gallon of ice cream and it wouldn't matter. You wouldn't gain a pound. Try doing that in your post-menopause, you're gonna blow up. Shouldn't have the dairy anyway. But a lot of the things that you used to eat prior to being menopausal, those things tend to change when you encounter menopause. And menopause is a beautiful stage. It just means that you are going through the second phase of your life, and you're very, very blessed to have this opportunity, because there's some women who are not on this side of life. They're no longer here. So when women are going through menopause, celebrate and say, yay, I've gone through that. I'm happy, I'm healthy. So Lisa's going to talk about how she can help you in terms of your mindset, in terms of your body image, in terms of your nutrition, in terms of your fitness level. So Lisa, I am so impressed with all of this. And you decided to pursue this avenue for menopausal women specifically. And let's talk about that. What part sparked and perked up your interest in this area specifically? Because this is a much needed area to explore and for women to know more about, because some women just really don't know how to deal with the physiological changes that are happening in their bodies.
So I won't take you way back to the beginning, but, you know, while I was, pre-pandemic, I was actually working full-time in higher ed and on the side as a nutrition coach, and that was precision nutrition. That was my first certification. Starting to work with women, started to realize all these issues we have. And that started, my passion with nutrition. Then I went to the holistic nutrition because I'm so drawn in by the power of food and, how our bodies can heal themselves. But working with women, it's like, wow, a lot of women have autoimmune disorders. and how can I
Wow.
help them? So that led me to that certification. And I'm an overachiever. If I'm going to learn something, I feel like I need credentials out of it. So learned about autoimmune nutrition, but also realized everything I'm learning and all of the great tips and tricks won't matter unless I could
Right.
change someone's way of thinking. So that's
Right.
where, the change, forget the exact name of that certification through precision nutrition, but you have to change someone's mindset to change their behaviors, to change the outcome. And that just
Exactly.
led me further down the rabbit hole of, wow, there's a lot of women we're working with in like their mid 40s, early 50s, telling me that they're not doing anything different, everything's changing, blah, blah, blah. And I've already been post-menopausal. So I had the idea of creating a program, an 8-week program to help women learn to work with their bodies instead of against it, to
Mm-hmm.
manage menopause and thrive. Because as you said, we just aren't educated about it. We're never
Yes.
told what to expect. I mean, most women just think, oh, when I stop getting my period, I'm in menopause. But you've been in perimenopause for probably 5 to 10 years before that, not
Exactly.
realizing all of the crazy symptoms you're experiencing aren't crazy, like that they're actually happening. And you nailed it. Like menopause is basically our second puberty. And it's
Mm-hmm.
puberty was major, but we had all this education around it. Second puberty, there's no education, and many women feel shame and don't really want to
Yes.
speak about it. So, learning to, that's why I went through the Stacy Sims course and Dr. Jade's course and really started to learn more about female metabolism, hormones, and what's happening so that I can educate women. And then that led me to gut health because everyone's gut is jacked up. And, as you move through peri and
Mm-hmm.
post menopause, all of those hormonal changes are also wreaking havoc on our guts. So, you could only do so much, but if you're not healing your gut, you're not going to really get where you want to go. So,
Right.
everything all tied together because I just wanted to help someone and I didn't want to have to keep saying, oh, you need to find someone to work with. Like, no, I'll
Yeah.
become that person. I'll learn what I need to learn so I can help you. And it's
That's
great that we're talking about this because October is Menopause Awareness Month. I know you won't see this in October, but
yeah, yeah. But that's really great. And I'm so pleased that someone with your expertise and enthusiasm and knowledge and compassion has decided to pursue this topic because there are women who go to traditional doctors, particularly male doctors, and they don't have a clue about it. And so I think more and more people, more and more physicians are getting more information, but for the most part, they don't really know. And so there are women who think that they're pregnant when they're going through this because the body simulates pregnancy. I've heard, and sometimes they are pregnant, but most times they're not. And because they don't know the symptoms, the bloated feeling, the nausea, all of those, it's like a false pregnancy. And I've read about several women who've gone through that and they had thought that they were pregnant and to come to find out that they were not. And then there were those who thought they were pregnant and they were. So what are some of the symptoms that women should look for? Because with this group that we're focusing on, a lot of women are kind of like out of that stage of being recently menopausal. Some are just 10 years out, and some are just going through it. So for those that are going through it, they need to know what some of the signs are and how they can deal with it holistically.
yeah. So, I mean, the sign most of us think of is, oh, I don't have my period anymore, or my period's getting wonky. But that's usually one of the later symptoms of
Mm-hmm.
perimenopause.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, a lot of women start to, what really seems to get a lot of women's attention is the belly fat that's coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Um, that the hot flashes, the night sweats, the
Yeah.
acne, my hair's falling out. I'm anxious all of a sudden I never was, or I'm angry all the time and that's not my personality. Some
Mhm.
women might experience like joint pain, um, body odor, sleep apnea could be something. I always, whenever someone asks me, Lisa, could this be a symptom of perimenopause? I'm like, yes, like we have estrogen receptors all over our bodies. So
Okay.
we could be
Yeah.
affected in so many different ways, and every woman experiences perimenopause differently with their symptoms. But those are some of like the top ones, as well as not sleeping well.
Wow. I think this would really have been a great asset to our mothers and grandmothers who were going through this because they didn't know what was going on. All of a sudden, they were experiencing, especially with the hot flashes, they had no clue. I wrote a book years ago. It was like um, it was facetious. It was basically talking about menopause, but from a point of humor. And it said, "I'm not crazy, just menopausal." I wrote it back in 2007. And it was a hilarious little book, it's a very small book, to talk about the symptoms and have people own it. And the thing about it is sometimes women don't like to own menopause because in their minds it means that they've gotten old. And that's one of the reasons why I'm really organizing this group so people don't think of themselves as being old. It's just a phase of life. You know, you're really, really very honored and blessed to have made it to this stage. But when I used to ask women, are you menopausal? Oh, they don't want to talk about it. So now I think it's becoming less of a stigma and more people are talking about it. So like I said, I'm glad that you're dealing with it and talking to people. So when women are going through, the belly fat is the number one thing. That's the number one thing. I don't have this fat figure anymore. I got this little pregnancy belly. What happened? So let's talk about that. What do you do with that? And as you mentioned, estrogen and some other things.
Yeah, so I mean, what's happening hormonally is, our sex hormones are lessening, right? So usually progesterone is the first hormone to decrease. And
Okay.
estrogen and progesterone work hand in hand. They balance each other out. But so as progesterone goes away first, we don't necessarily realize it because we start to have periods, but we're not ovulating. And we really, most of us can't tell if we ovulated or not.
Right.
But what happens is, again, that's our feel good, happy, calming hormone. So, if you start to realize you're anxious or angry, you're losing your progesterone. And
Mm.
what really matters is the estrogen progesterone ratio. So if
Mhm,
estrogen
mhm,
stays the same, but progesterone's dropping, now we're estrogen dominant, even though our levels might not
mhm.
have changed yet. And that can increase our cortisol, which
Yes.
increases the belly fat. But also, many women in this phase of life are working full time, have kids, maybe dealing with aging parents. The stress load on these women who are go, 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 do it all
Mm.
is also spiking their cortisol because they are living in the
Ah,
sympathetic fight or flight all the time, which that in of itself is going to increase your cortisol and help increase that belly fat. So just by
mm.
the fact that our hormones are fluctuating, that's a stress on the body on top of all the other stress we're dealing with. And a lot of times it's like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes too, what I've noticed is that people start getting hair growth on the chin. It's like,
Yeah.
do they need to shave or hair growth, stashes, and yeah, 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 because of the increase in estrogen. Yeah, that's one of the signs too. Yeah.
Yep.
So what can they do in terms of, well, I know it's multi-layered and multifaceted. So they can go for support to see someone like you because you have it all together to tell them exactly what's going on nutritionally because you can test to see, and also emotionally, and also physically. So a person, okay, I'm a client. Let's do a simulation. Hi, Lisa. I'm Cla- I'm I'm Jamila, and all of a sudden, now that I'm past 50, I'm seeing these hair growths. My uh, tummy is not flat like it used to be. I am tired. My libido has decreased, and I don't know what's going on with me, and I'm irritable. Well, I don't know what to do. I'm talking to people, and my husband is like fed up to hear with me because when he turns on the heat, I want the air conditioner on because I'm having hot flashes. So, and I'm generally healthy. I've never had these kinds of issues. So I don't know what to do. And I still desire to exercise, but it seems like the tummy isn't going away.
Yeah. So the first thing I usually have to tell people is you cannot spot reduce body fat. Like we all
Mm,
gain body fat in various places in various orders, right? And some people hold fat in different places than others, and you cannot crunch your way out of, belly fat. Like our bodies don't work that way. But
wow.
I always talk to women. I want to know, what are you eating and how much are you eating? Because most women, especially, if you're in this 40 to 50s age group, we grew up on 1,200 calories, eating Snackwell cookies, drinking Diet Coke and eating as little as possible. And a lot of women are still in that mindset, and that's not serving you, especially once you hit peri and post menopause, because not eating enough is a stress on the body. And I already talked
Mm,
about, we're already under a boatload of stress, the straw that broke the camel's back. Now you're adding fuel to the fire by not eating enough, especially not eating enough protein. So
mm,
that's usually one of the easier things to tackle. Like, let's look at your diet. I usually recommend a reverse diet where you slowly and gradually increase someone's calories. So to try to minimize the impact on the scale. And, if someone's been under eating for 10 years, this is going to be a bit of a process. This is not a like 2-month fix and I'm back to normal, right? Like we need to heal, not that it's broken, but we need to work on our metabolism to make it optimal. So
mm.
eating enough food, eating enough protein. And then the next thing I want to talk about is exercise, because a lot of
Okay.
our ladies, like, oh, I'm gaining weight, I need to work out more. No, that's more fuel to the fire, because exercise is a stress on the body. It's a good stress.
Oh,
But when you're already overloaded with stress, it's not
mhm.
useful. So we need to be no more 2-a-day workouts. We need to lower the amount of cardio you're doing and focus more on
Really?
strength training. Yeah.
What? Wow, Lisa, let's stay here for a moment. Let's put a pause here. This is very interesting. Very, because the more you work out at this stage, you're stressing the body out and it's producing more cortisol.
Yep.
And so it means that the body is retaining the fat. And also, too, I had heard that when you don't eat enough, the body will retain food because it feels like it's in starvation mode. So it's not, so people think they're going to lose, that they are going to lose weight, but after a certain period, after it plateaus, it's trying to retain because it feels like you're starving it.
Yeah. I mean, our body's number one job is to keep us alive. And
Mm-hmm.
hard stop. It does not care what we look like. It does not care what our belly looks like. It's just to simply keep us alive. And so what happens when we don't eat enough, especially protein, our body needs the nutrients to survive. So it's going to start to break down our muscles to get the amino acids it needs. Well, what happens when our bodies break down our muscle, we're becoming fatter. Even if the scale's not changing, we're changing our body composition to have less muscle, more body fat. So we're becoming fatter,
Wow.
because our body, again, just wants to keep us alive. It will break down whatever it needs to break down. It will steal nutrients throughout your body. And that's why a lot of times when people get older, they have these, diseases, things that aren't working right because they haven't been fueled properly for so long.
Wow. Wow. So what is the common ailment or disease that you see for people, women who are menopausal, post-menopausal, and you can tell that they have not been eating properly throughout their life? So what is, yeah, the most common, well, side effect or nutritional deficit that you see that manifests in the body?
I see with women, especially, a lot of autoimmune disorders. That's
Uh-huh.
where your body starts to attack itself. You've been under such high level of stress. You've not
Mm-hmm.
been feeding yourself properly,
Mm-hmm.
getting the right nutrition. So that can happen, as well as you start to see some people getting pre-diabetic because they're not metabolically healthy.
So in terms of the autoimmune disease, what are some examples?
Hashimoto's is like the most common autoimmune disease I see with women. And that's, um, and a lot of people don't realize you can manage conditions like that through diet and lifestyle. It's always going to come down to diet and lifestyle. Like name the ailment, name the condition. I'm going to tell you number one is diet and lifestyle. So for anyone with autoimmune, no dairy, no gluten, like they're
Right.
inflammatory. No sugar, no alcohol, they're inflammatory. And just
Yeah.
that alone can make you feel so much better.
Yeah. 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 Well, you know, I'm really, really fit and really healthy, but
Me
I
too.
have a serious wheat allergy, right? And usually when people come to me, because I'm a therapist by training, but I'm into holistic health too, I tell them the 5 allergens are strawberries, dairy, grains, wheat, and all of that. What else?
Eggs.
Sugar, chocolate, I think, yeah. And if you eliminate that, then you can regain your health. But wow, yeah, yeah. Wheat is a problem because it's a hybrid in this country. You're not eating the original version of wheat. So people who load up on wheat bread, it's becoming a problem. You know, they
Yeah,
get,
and that leads to being inflammatory. And when you're inflamed, you're going to be puffy all over. I mean, you're going to be
Mhm.
holding water, you're going to be inflamed. And it's, everything is connected. Everything ends up, having some kind of effect on your body.
Wow,
And I always
that's,
tell women who have that sugar craving, like, I can't give up sugar. You can. If you start eating enough protein, you won't have that sugar craving anymore. You'll be satisfied.
yeah, yeah. And what about eating enough greens as well? Would that
Yeah.
offset the craving? Yeah, yeah.
Might not offset the craving as much, but greens, fiber, feed
Mhm.
our microbiomes, keep our guts healthy. I mean, that goes a long way.
Yeah, the microbiome is something people are really discussing now because it's critical, it's crucial to optimal health. It really is. Okay, let's talk about juicing versus blending. I blend, I have a juicer and I also have a blender, but I blend a lot of my juices. I would use like a fruit juice, organic fruit juice, like with pomegranate and apples and some other things that I would buy in the store as my base, and then I would put in kale and some other things to blend it and drink it because it has the fiber. But then
Yeah.
there are some people who just juice everything. What's your opinion about that?
I'm with you. I would blend it because you want the fiber. That's like one of the big perks of having the fruits and vegetables. Yes, we want the micronutrients and vitamins they provide, but we want the fiber again because the fiber feeds the good bacteria in our gut, which keeps our guts healthy, our gut lining strong and tight. And,
Mm-hmm.
if our guts, I think, was it Hippocrates, one of those old people,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
health, I'm going to butcher the quote now that I'm like on camera, but all health begins in the gut or all disease begins in the gut, whatever the quote is.
Yeah,
You have to keep your gut
yeah,
healthy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've heard that. Yeah, life and death begins in the gut.
Thank
That's
you.
what I've heard. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And this is very interesting because I think sometimes people get on these crazies, these crazy kind of modern diets or whatever, and they just go for it. But I think juicing is amazing because it makes the liquid uh, available to you. It goes right into the bloodstream, but you really need the fiber. So I blend and then I juice, but I blend mostly because I like the bulk, and the bulk is going to push things through your colon so that you don't have an impacted colon, and that can be an issue because your colon is 8 feet long, and you get parasites in and a lot of other things. Let's talk about that because you're a
Yeah.
specialist with gut health.
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing to think about, and it's just ironic that here I am, I talk about poop all the time now. And when my boys were little, boys talk about poop all the time, and I just hated it. And now I'm like, oh, now here I am talking about poop all the time. But we
Mm,
need to be fully eliminating every day.
hmm.
And a lot of people, I hear a lot of people say, well, I go like every couple of days. Well, what's
Oh, wow.
happening is
Oh,
all of the waste in your body's backed up. And especially for women who are perimenopausal,
mm-hmm.
we excrete the extra estrogen out the back door. So if we are not
Mm,
pooping every day, our body is going to reabsorb that extra estrogen and increase the estrogen dominance. So that
wow.
is not helpful for women. But in general, I mean, it's not normal to be gassy, bloated, burping, you know, feeling
Yeah.
feeling, awful after you eat. I mean, feeling awful when you try to go, like, you know, it's a process to, retrain your gut to fully eliminate every day. And, you know, a lot of people think, oh, well, I'll add more fiber. That's not step one. If you are already backed up and you're
Mm-hmm.
adding more fiber, it's like adding more cars on a busy, busy highway that's not moving, right? Like, so we need to get things moving first and then, fix the issue, then start feeding ourselves properly to kind of keep it moving going forward.
Mm-hmm. So what are the things that people can do to keep it moving forward, to keep
Yeah.
their bowels moving? Because the ideal situation is to uh, excrete after each meal. And most people are not doing that because they're eating a lot of dense food and a lot of processed food. So they don't have the fiber to push it through the colon. But so what are your suggestions?
Yeah. So it's our natural body's rhythm to eliminate in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So what I always recommend to anybody, nutrition or gut health, when you wake up in the morning, you're dehydrated. You haven't drank anything for, however many hours. Start your
Mm-hmm.
day with a glass of water. Some people
Mm-hmm.
like warm water with lemon. I don't care, just drink water. Before your
Mm-hmm.
tea, before your coffee, start to hydrate your body because everything needs to be hydrated to be able to push it out. And
Mm-hmm.
then I would say if you're not in the rhythm of going, train your body. Before you leave for work, find 5 minutes where you could just sit there on the throne
Mm-hmm.
and like start to make the brain body connection like, oh, this is the time. You might not go for the first couple of days, you're just sitting there, but like your body's getting used to this is the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And you need to set that time aside where you're not like, oh my gosh, I'm rushing. If your body's not relaxed, you're not going.
Mm-hmm.
and
That's true.
and be in the right position. Like the toilets in the US are not set up to help us eliminate. If you've
That's true.
ever heard of a squatty potty or just a step stool, you want to have your feet up on the stool so your knees are above your hips, and you want to be leaning forward with like your elbows on your knees. And what
Mm-hmm.
that does is create the right alignment for things to empty out your colon.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true. That's true. And you're supposed to, I should say, squat lower. And these toilets are really high, especially as people get older, they're not able to squat as much, so they raise the toilets up. And it's really causing some problems in terms of elimination. But the first thing I'm now doing, and I had done it in the past and I stopped and I'm doing it again, is drinking lemon water, room temperature lemon water, because cold water to me jolts the system. And that really helps because after you go to sleep, you're breaking a fast. That's why they call it breakfast. So you're
Yep.
breaking a fast, and something that's going to stimulate the muscles in your stomach, especially if you're coming off a fast, would be lemons or orange juice. So I drink lemon water, and that really helps. Really helps. And after a period of time, the lemon water starts to taste sweet. It's no longer bitter. It does. It starts
Yep.
tasting sweet. And you don't have to put you don't put sugar in it, ladies and gentlemen. Drink the lemon water without sugar, without stevia. I don't use sugar anyway, but without agave, drink it straight. And it's
Yes.
going to stimulate the muscles in the stomach to help you eliminate.
Yes.
But this is so interesting, Lisa.
So if you don't mind, I want to go back to menopause for a minute because
Yes,
we
yes,
started talking about exercise, and you had asked
yes,
me what to do. So I said I would look at your
yes.
nutrition first and make sure you're eating enough and enough protein. I would try to convince you to reduce your amount of cardio because that's a stress on the body and switch to weightlifting. because
Oh,
muscle is protective of our bones and joints. And I don't know about you, but I am not breaking a hip at 65 and like
right.
having that be the end. I'm going to be vibrant and strong as long as I can. So muscle is very protective. So stop doing the cardio classes, the Pelotons, and switch to weight training. But also movement's important. Walking. You don't have to do a
Yeah.
run. If you
Yeah, that's
truly
what I
love a
do.
run, maybe once
Yeah.
a week, but like walk. And walk doesn't mean power walking. Walking doesn't mean with a vest on. Walking just means movement. Like get out in nature if you can, get some sun on
Yes.
your face and walk. And there's a lot of times when I take my walks where I'm like, Lisa, slow down. Like, I just start naturally moving. It's like, no, move. So it's
Yeah.
nutrition with protein, weightlifting, walking, movement. Stress
Okay.
management is the biggest piece of it.
Okay, let me ask you one quick
Okay.
thing.
Yes.
What about Pilates or yoga
They
or
are
Tai Chi?
wonderful. They
Tai
are,
Chi? Uh-huh.
it's all a great way to help our bodies restore, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
that calming, restorative movement is wonderful.
Okay. And the body doesn't perceive that as being stress like cardio.
No, not mean there are some types of yoga, and I'm not a yoga guy, so I don't remember the name. Some types of yoga are too intense, but
Yeah.
the
The
yin
regular.
yoga, the
Yeah.
tai chi, all of that is very relaxing, restorative to our bodies. So I
And
usually recommend to women, you need to have at least 2 rest days where you're not doing any kind of exercise. And that's where yoga and Pilates fit in really well because they're restorative.
oh,
They're good for our bodies.
what about swimming?
Swimming's wonderful, especially that would fall more into movement, right? So if you're not getting your steps like walking, you could
Mm-hmm.
swim. Some
Mm-hmm.
women are like, I have a foot issue. I can't walk. Ride your bike. Or for those people with a Peloton, do a recovery ride. Like, don't go all out crazy ride. Like, you could do a recovery ride. That's
Mm,
same
okay.
as getting steps because the whole goal is movement. There's no
Mm-hmm.
magic, like 10,000 steps isn't a magic number. Like, the whole goal is just to move your body throughout the day.
Mm. This is really, really helpful. I'm like sitting in your class now, like a child, listening. This is so wonderful.
But
Wow.
stress management, that's the biggest one, and that's the one nobody wants to tackle, right?
Yeah.
My life is busy, but if you're living in fight or flight all the time, your body's not going to change this composition. Your body's going to think it's running from a bear or a tiger all the time. Our
Mm.
bodies don't know the
Exactly.
difference between
Yeah.
the email our boss sent and tiger coming at us. It's all
Mm.
the same.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know most of us can't change our stressors, but we can change our perception of the stress.
Yes, exactly.
Example I always give, when I still had to commute into an office, I it was 16 miles. It could take 30 minutes, it could take an hour and a half.
Mm.
And it was bumper to bumper traffic. There was usually an accident. There was usually something. I would drive to work like this, eating my
Mm.
breakfast, all
Mm.
stressed out. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be late. And finally one day I was like, Lisa, it's like this every day. Like,
Yeah.
why are you expecting something different? You're the crazy one. So instead, I chose to use that time in my car, planned on an hour. I'm going to put on a podcast that I really want to listen to. I'm by myself. I'm not mom. I'm not wife. I'm not worker. Nobody needs me. I'm just going to enjoy this time as best as I can, listen to whatever podcast I want. And it
Yeah,
changed my perspective. I would go to work calm and not like a crazy person because I was late. So just reframing how you think about things. Stop
that's true.
trying to
That's true.
change the outcome when nothing has changed along the way. Like that's crazy. Like if you can't control the outcome, then don't worry about it. My biggest
That's
phrase is it is what it is. Like let it go.
that is so true. And you know what else is really good, Lisa? Is deep breathing.
Yes. I tell my clients when they're at work, busy, I'm like, before you eat lunch, I want you to close your eyes for 1 minute. Just give me
Mhm.
1 minute, close your eyes and breathe. I don't care if you do box breaths or I just want you to breathe at first. And I want you to use that minute to get your body into the parasympathetic state, the rest and digest. So when you eat your food, you're actually digesting it and getting the nutrients out of it instead of eating it real quick while you're reading emails. And then
Mhm.
you feel bloated and uncomfortable for the next 2 hours because your food's just like sitting there because you didn't chew it properly, you didn't digest it at all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Breathing is wonderful. And then I suggest please do it before bed. Like clear
Yeah.
your mind, get your body into the rest and digest phase again.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's amazing. And I use the 4-7-8. You inhale for 4, hold for 7 to the count of 7, and exhale to the count of 8. And that's from Dr. Andrew Weil, or Weil, Weil, who's a medical doctor out in Arizona. And that's really, really good. And you know what? That also helps with constipation. When you hold and then you exhale, it starts to really stimulate those muscles in the abdominal area. It's really good for that.
Yeah, because it helps relax them and helps them, okay, start to push everything out because it's not all like this.
Yes, yes, yes. And meditation is also very good for stress relief.
Oh, yes.
People are breathing and just meditating. And you don't have to be with a yogi or a Zen master. Meditate just means just getting quiet and still. That's all it means. So as Lisa was talking about going to work, you put on some really relaxing music and just think calm thoughts, and your body would tend to relax. I think what you're saying is so key. Stress management is really, really important, and staying in the moment, we get stressed out because we're thinking about yesterday or tomorrow or 10 minutes from now. If you stay in the moment, everything's fine in the moment. Usually,
Yep.
you're okay. But when you start thinking beyond that moment, that's when you become stressed. So that is wonderful. So what other parts to your program, Lisa,
There's,
if you remember
yep, there,
the remaining moments that we have? I don't know why I'm getting tongue-tied
yeah,
today.
there's one last piece to what I said my big rocks are. And this is important. They're all important, but self-compassion. So
Yeah,
if we're thinking about women in perimenopause, so many women are so hard on themselves. Like, oh,
yeah,
I'm gaining weight. I don't feel good. I'm slacking. I should just work out harder. I can't believe I'm
yeah,
doing this.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
they're anxious because they're losing their progesterone and
yeah,
beating themselves up all the time. And if you think about it, when no one would talk mean to a 12-year-old girl going through puberty. No one
yeah.
would. No one would be like, oh, your face is breaking out, you're gaining weight. Like no one would. We all understand this is a transition. You have the
Yeah.
ugly duckling phase while your body's all shifting around, and then you
Mhm.
come out the other side. This is
Yeah.
what's happening in perimenopause. We're going through reverse puberty. We have that ugly duckling phase where we might have the facial hair, the acne, the belly.
Mhm.
We do the things we could do, and then our bodies transition. So,
Mhm.
and also I always tell women, like, would you say the things you're saying to yourself to your best friend? You never would.
Right.
You never would. And our bodies hear what our brains are telling us. And you can't
Mhm.
beat yourself up mentally into being thin or being happy or whatever. So you need to give yourself that same self-compassion, the compassion you'd give another human being to get you through. Because it's not forever.
Yes. Yes. I think that's amazing. Everything you said has just been so spot on and so perfect. So this is excellent for women and for men too, but for mostly for women because we go through that body image phase in terms of my body doesn't look the way they used to look. I'm feeling uncomfortable in a bathing suit. I can't uh I tell people don't use the word lose because if you say lose, then your body is trying to fight it. I can't release the weight that I would like to release to get into this dress. Maybe you need to go up a size in terms of your dress. And usually when people do, they look a lot better. They look a lot better because
Nobody knows what size your dress is.
you look a lot better. So the whole thing is, I think your program is amazing. So are there any, before we even do this, I would like for people to know how to get in touch with you.
Oh, yes. So, I mean, I have a website, Holistic Wellness with Coach Lisa. And, on my website, I talk about working with me on nutrition, and I work with men too on nutrition and gut health. But
Mhm.
also, coaching women with nutrition and lifestyle through the perimenopausal transition.
Mhm.
Um, I also have that 8-week program that I mentioned that runs a couple of times a year. But I mean, if you're ever unsure, anyone could book a free consult with me to have a conversation, like, because I don't want to work with everybody, right? I'm not the right fit for everyone. We need to make sure we're a fit, and may or may not be, and that's totally fine. But I can be found on LinkedIn, Instagram. Instagram's where I post most of my fitness, nutrition type of things, but this year is my New Year's resolution to use LinkedIn a little bit more for that. So I'm posting some content there.
Okay. So what are your social media handles?
Sure. So for LinkedIn, it's just simply Lisa DeLuca. I've been on LinkedIn for almost 20 years, so I have my name with no numbers or crazy characters after it. So super simple, Lisa DeLuca. But on Instagram, I'm at Lisa M as in Mary DeLuca.
Okay, can you spell that for them?
Sure. So at Lisa, Lisa, M as in Mary, DeLuca, DeLuca, no dots, no dashes, just all one word. And for LinkedIn, it's www.linkedin/in/Lisa DeLuca, all one word.
Okay. So do you have a handle for Facebook or YouTube?
I don't have YouTube. Facebook I do, but I use that more for like posting pictures of my kids and things like that. And I don't know what my name is. My URL is off the top of my head.
Okay.
But I have it set up so whatever I post on Instagram would go to Facebook anyway.
Okay. So, and if people would like to have a discovery call with you, they would just use one of those social media handles and they can book a discovery call with you.
Yep, they could just send me a message. I'd message them back and we would set that up. And there's if you go to my website, Holistic Wellness with Coach Lisa, again, all one word, there's a button to click to, fill out your information to get a call. But I'm easy to reach out to. I respond.
Yeah. And as you can see, she's extremely knowledgeable about all of it, from coaching to nutritional health, gut health, exercise, stress management, all in one package, one little petite package. So definitely get in touch with Lisa. Lisa, it's been a pleasure.
It's been fun.
I'm just really excited. I learned a lot from you today, a lot. And that's why I don't like giving people a lot of questions beforehand. I like to keep it fresh so I learn as well. Yeah. So what is the one statement that you would like to leave with the listening audience?
I would say it's never too late to feel good. And you could feel good, change how you feel with your next meal. If you choose foods that are mostly whole foods and eat foods that your body loves, then you will feel better instantly, and that would create some positive momentum.
Beautiful. I love that. So the title of our podcast was Nutritional Empowerment. Let's get fit and healthy. And she definitely empowered you using nutritional information. And Lisa told you how to get fit and how to stay healthy. So get in touch with her, have her as your personal life coach advisor in terms of wellness and fitness. She's amazing. Thank you so much again, Lisa. I really appreciate it. So everyone, thank you again. We are Gray Lives on the Rise. Okay. So until next time, beloveds, be well, get fit, stay healthy. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Gray Lives on the Rise, being brought to you by Jamila Sense, which is the product line of Oyende Enterprises. Jamila Sense is a 100% natural aromatherapy line that heals the mind, body, and soul. This episode of Gray Lives on the Rise was intended to uplift you, to inspire you, and to motivate you. Please tell all of your friends, family members, and anyone you know who's 50 plus, who's living a vibrant life and interested in doing more and enjoying life even to its fullest. So thank you, and please subscribe like, and comment on this video and all our videos. Thank you, and until next time, until our next podcast, namaste and be well.